All right, traders, we're going to be doing an in-depth price action analysis on the SPY, going over the stock market. I'm also going to be preparing you to trade the best setups at the best prices. I have a couple of good setups on my radar here, and I'm going to be sharing them with you. So this video is going to be breaking down the price action and how to trade it both ways into this week. Make sure you smash that like button, and let's get straight into the video. So first things first, we're going to be talking about the SPY. So in terms of the SPY for this week, for the micro price action, I'm leaning more towards the bullish side. That's currently what the chart is telling me. With that being said, here's where I currently think we could be at in terms of the SPY. One key thing that I wanted to point out is, in terms of Friday's price action. This used to be a major resistance level right here at $444. This was a key major resistance level with big downside potential. SPY was consistently going for about a week straight from the 440s all the way down to the 420s to the 430s, right? We're talking like a 15 to 20 point move very, very quickly on the downside. Well, if that key resistance level reacts as a support level, like it did on Friday, then the SPY is really going to be on track to have a nice upside move for the short term being instead of a nice downside move. So speaking for the micro price action here, it's either make it or break it for both ways. For the bears to gain control, for the micro, they're currently not in control still. They need to crack 444 and turn it into resistance. That's what they need to do to get back in control. If they can't do that soon, SPY is going to be on track to break out. There's a key gap breakout right here at this 453 level we spoke about in the previous videos. So once 453 breaks out, that's when you're going to see a nice breakout, and that's when SPY is going to fill this gap at 457.35. So right now, it's mainly just a battle at this key 444 mark. In terms of the past 2 days of the price action on the SPY, you can see, it is trying to hit lower lows in a sense. Like right here, it went to 445, and then it dropped all the way to 443.62 the next day. But it is still holding up. So for the bulls to remain in control, they have to hold 444. If they can't do that, then we're going to see a big shift in price action where the bears take control, quickly run this back into the 430s. If they continue to hold 444, it's going to be on track to consistently go back to 453. Once 453 breaks out, that's when the gap fills from 453. I'm just really not seeing any reason with the current momentum that we have right now in the price action, in that it's bottomed, twice towards this 440 level in 2 days. I'm not seeing why SPY cannot fill this gap at 457. I think it's going to be able to fill the gap this week. But in terms of the price action, if this continues to, maintain under 453, we see some new lower highs coming in. We see that breakdown at 444. Bears are going to take complete control, run it back to 430s. If it keeps holding up 444s, and then if it keeps on testing 453, we're going to get to this point where it just breaks out and fills this gap at 457. If you see 457 react as a resistance level, that's going to be a great put opportunity as well. So those are the key levels to keep in mind in terms of the SPY. The main battle zone right now is from 444 to 453. Bears take control for the micro. If 444 cracks, bulls take control. Bulls remain in control for the micro. If 444 keeps holding, and then we should eventually get that breakout of 453 for the gap to 457. So those are my thoughts. Those are my current views on the overall market in terms of the SPY. Now let's go over some of the best setups here. So Facebook is looking very, very bullish in my opinion, and I want you guys to keep this on your radar for a nice, short-term trade, even potential swing trade where you buy some call options on this one. This is what I want you to focus on in terms of Facebook stock. This key level right here, we're going to call it 200. Here, let's take the bottom of this. $237, and we'll raise it a little bit. So like 237.50, right around there towards that red line. 237.50 is going to be your key level for Facebook. If this holds up, this key 237.75, there you can call it that, this blue line right here. If this holds up, Facebook is going to be on track to continue to start to have a trend reversal. It's going to start to have a bullish move up. So for Facebook, Once you see it breaking out, once you see it, turning this 237.75 into support level, you're going to want to pick up some call options and ride this back up into the 240s for the short term being. Just by looking at this current candlestick and this current move, this is definitely an overreaction. And judging by the candlestick that we did see on Friday, if this is green on Monday, tomorrow, you're going to want to be buying Facebook. This can really have a nice bullish trend reversal for the time being. So keep a close eye on that one. That's the key level. If you see it turn into support, look to get in, use a mental stop loss towards like 236.50 around there, and then ride this back up into the 240s. That's what I would keep an eye on for Facebook. Not interested in playing puts on this one for the time being. Just more of a situation where you buy calls once you get a validation of confirmation of support, breakout towards 237.75, ride it back up to the 240s range. So DWAC, the chart is just a little weird for me. It's just too weird. It's too choppy. It's too sideways. I'm not really interested in it. What I'd recommend with this one is just wait for the first red day. When you see something that's just having a huge move up, wait for the first red day and then buy puts towards open. So that's what I would do on DWAC. I would just wait for it to have its first red day, and then I would look to get some put options and scalp it, get in, get out. Within some time, we should see this gap fill at 68.75. So that's kind of my thoughts on this one. I would just wait for the first red day. Wouldn't really do anything with it in between there. The chart is attempting to break out. It is looking sort of bullish, but I would not do anything with this one besides just waiting for the first red day. In terms of MSTR, keep this on your radar for a breakout. So for this to run, you need to see $394 turn into support and breakout. If that can happen, you're going to get a strong push to like the 420, 430 range. Once this goes above 430s, it's going to have a gap breakout, and then it's going to fill that gap fairly quickly to 457. So keep an eye on all those key levels. Right now, the key breakout level to turn into support to buy calls would be towards $394 to like 397, right around there. In terms of the gap breakout, that's going to be $434 to then fill this for the gap at 457. Then once the gap fills, if it turns into resistance, you can look to scalp puts. Overall though, looking at the daily chart right now, it does look like we're going to continue some nice upside coming up, and it does look like we're going to be on track to really start to fill this gap from 450s. So I'm now bullish on this MSTR, so that's something to keep in mind heading into the week. And it is currently up a little bit, during extended hour session. So if you see it have that nice breakout above like 397, you're going to want to be buying calls on that. So that's my thoughts on that one. BBIG flipped. It's up a little bit in after hours. I wanted to do a quick update on this one. So we did get the small pullback. However, this is now turning. So, it had this nice breakout, right? And then it retested resistance. But that previous breakout number before that, 360 was right here towards 310. And for 2 days in a row, it has turned 310 into support, which is bullish. Plus, you have a very nice bullish candlestick on the daily. So BBIG is on track to go to $3.38. There's a gap to fill right here at 338. It's either make it or break it. If it turns it into support, starts breaking out, it's going to be on track to retest and really try to break above 360s. Once this breaks above 360s, that's when you're going to see a nice move to fill the gap at 393 here. Now, if this 340 reacts as a resistance level, that's the bears combating this, saying that, we're forming new lower highs, and this is going to be a very bearish move moving forward for the short term being. So it's either make it or break it. They need to turn 340 into support. That's what needs to happen. If they can't do it, this will be on track to go back to like $2.90, within like 1 to 2 weeks, within like a week or two. But that's what you want to look for on a BBIG. As of now, for the micro, it is going to see some bullish move to the 340 range. If it breaks out, turns it into support, then it goes to 360s. If 360s breaks out, turns to support, then it goes to 393 to fill this gap. In terms of the bearish side, the bears need to turn 340 into resistance. If they can't do that, there's a good sign that BBIG is going to continue to uptrend and break above 360. So the bears really need to break this stock down quickly, and turn this into 340 resistance. Otherwise, it's going to be on track to break out past 360s. So that's the both side price action analysis on that one. Mara stock is looking very, very bullish. It looks like we've really bottomed out on this one. You have a gap to fill right here at 25.03. It did have a nice run during after hours. It almost filled the gap. It's at 24.89. So if 25.03 reacts as a resistance, it's going to have a micro pullback. If it reacts as support, it's going to have a micro breakout to really try to fill this gap at 28.59. So keep an eye on that $25 level. That's your key make it or break it, huge upside, huge downside potential level, as you can see right here. So if you see it react as a resistance, buy the puts. If you see it break out, react as support, buy the calls. You can always switch sides. You know, say you were wrong about the confirmation and it starts going against you. You can always cut it quick, switch sides, as long as it's not too far away from the key levels, right? So always keep that in mind, because these are big move key levels where the stock is expected to have a big one-way move, whether it's up or down, and we have to study the confirmations and the reactions. And, you know, say you get in, it doesn't go your way, you can flip sides. As long as it's not too far from the key level, make back your loss and more. So yeah, in terms of Robinhood, this one, I'm just waiting for the first red day. This is all I'm waiting for, something like this. See how it has this green candle, green candle, green candle, green candle, and then the red comes in, then it starts downtrending. I'm just waiting for a bearish candlestick. And then once I get that bearish candlestick on the daily chart, on the daily candle towards, you know, like 3:40 p.m. around there, I'm going to look to swing trade to put on this one, a little short-term swing trade put. So that's all I'm waiting for in Robinhood. I'm just waiting for some sort of bearish candlestick on the daily. I do believe once we get that bearish candlestick on the daily, it's going to be a good swing trade opportunity with some nice downside potential. So we'll see on that. Now, in terms of DVN, this one I'm overall bearish on. I would look for a put opportunity towards resistance or a key breakdown if it cracks 52.80. But I would look to play puts on this one. I think it's already dropping in after hours at 52. With that being said, $53 would be one of the best entries, 53.01 to buy puts. You see it react as resistance around that level. Overall, I think this will drop to about $51 to $50 within, you know, a couple days. So I think this will be a good put opportunity. We're getting a lot of resistance. We're getting a really bearish candlestick on the daily. It's due for a little pullback. Tesla's either make it or break it. So in terms of Tesla, for this to run, this needs to break above 943 and turn that into support. If it can do that, you're going to see a nice push into the 980s. So that's the key breakout level for Tesla. If it continues to struggle, if it continues to react as a resistance at 944, it's going to be a good put opportunity, and then you could ride that back down to fill the gap below at 845. That would take like 1 to 2 weeks. That would take about 2 weeks to happen, but it needs to turn 945 into key resistance like it has been doing. As of now, this is, I mean, let's see, 923, 926. It's up a tiny bit during after hours. But yeah, for this one, it just really needs to, you know, turn that key resistance into support. If you see it happening where it's breaking above, it's looking bullish, it's turning into support, then it's going to start to run. If not, then this is going to be really on track to break back down to fill that gap in the 846 range within some time. Our next stock is going to be Piton. So with this one, it had a massive, you know, gap up. Now, with that being said, your key support is going to be like $30. You can call it like $30 a share. If $30 cracks, it goes to 28.75. If 28.75 cracks and turns into resistance, huge downside potential. You're looking at a strong pullback to about, you know, 25.50 around there, right? This is just holding up on thin air. So for this one, I would just wait for the first red day. Once you see Piton is having its first red day, it's looking bearish, then I would look to grab some puts on this one. So yeah, those would be the key breakdown levels to watch for, where it's just literally holding up on thin air. So keep an eye on that. Other than that, I mean, I'm not too interested in really doing anything with it for the time being. So I would just kind of study a key breakdown on that one. So yeah, that was Piton. Now let's see Snapchat. So for Snapchat, this would be one where you can just wait for the first red day. Once you see, you know, it's having its first red day, this will be a good one to play puts on, right? The best price to play puts, you know, before first red day would be at 42.73. If you see this go to 42.73 and fill this gap, it's reacting as a resistance level. You're going to want to buy some puts on Snapchat. So that'd be the plan, to either buy puts at previous closing price or to buy puts on the first red day. It closed at 38.91. It's at 39.21, so it is having a small little gap up there. Now, in terms of a BBBY, this could be another short squeeze coming up. So I want to share this chart with you on why this is starting to look fairly bullish here. So in terms of BBBY, you could see your key resistance is like right here at 1666. You also have a lot of resistance right here in the 1630s to 1640s. What I wanted to point out is, this stock is really starting to turn that key resistance right around here with huge short-term downside potential, where we go from 16s to 1250s in just like 3 or 4 days into support. It's really starting to turn it into support, and it's been turning it into support for 2 days straight now. So if this continues to stay above, like the key level, the make it or break it level is 1550. So like if you were long on this, that's the absolute most you'd want to risk is 1550. Now, if this continues to hold 1550, this is going to be on track to push back up to fill this gap at 17. If it fills the gap at 17, reacts as a resistance, it's going to be a sell. It's going to be like a put opportunity there. If it breaks out and reacts to support, it's going to be on track to run past 18. And there is a gap that is waiting to fill on this one. It has a strong history of filling the gaps, right? It has a strong history of short squeezing. And there is a gap to fill at 22.29. Plus, on the squeeze indicator, we are still on this teal blue. As long as this remains like teal blue like this, it's really going to be on track to try and squeeze. And this is a fairly bullish candlestick as well. So I'm bullish on BBBY as long as we stay above 1550. I would not risk more than 1550 to 1520. In the meantime, if it continues to stay above those levels, it's going to be on track to fill the gap at 17. If it reacts as a resistance, lock in profits, play puts. If you see it looking strong, it's breaking out, still lock in at least half of profits and then, ride the rest out to see if it can break above $18. That's my thoughts on BBBY. This is a fairly bullish setup where it's really trying to reverse. Instead of having this huge downside move at this key resistance, it's now going to be trying to have a huge upside move since it's turning that previous key resistance into support. You could see it had a very nice upside move recently where it went to 18s. It's pulling back, and that pullback is simply it had an overreaction, so it's due for a pullback, right? And now you got to see, is it turning previous resistance into support? And if so, that's a healthy pullback. And that means it's going to try to push back up and break above those previous 18 highs. So that's the thoughts on BBBY. XCLA, some of you guys were asking me about this one. So I really don't like the chart history, right? It's just consistently pushing for new all-time lows. There has been about, I would say, 2 or 3 occurrences where it really blasted off, but it doesn't seem to last long and hold gains for very long. So with this one, in terms of where we could be at, I think we could be right around here. It just has this big move up. It has this big move up. It pulls back. It pulls back. It goes up a little more. It goes up a little more. And then it just kind of sits, forms a doji. It just kind of sits, forms a doji, some bearish candles here. And then it just kind of fades away. I think that's kind of where we're at on XELA. I'm really not that bullish on this one. Looking at the chart, looking at the technicals, I would not be buying this one at all. Now, in terms of if you're bullish on this, or if you want to know the technicals, you want to know the key levels, like what to look for, what to understand, this is what you need to understand for this one. This is your make it or break it level. If the bulls, if this level cracks, this stock is going to get slaughtered. It's just going to be done. You're not going to want to be in it if this level cracks. Your key level is going to be 70 cents. That's your key level, absolute most risk. If it cracks 70 and turns it into resistance, I mean, this is basically done from a technical view looking at the chart. So that's your key level. It needs to stay above 70. For the bulls to show true strength, they need to continue to stay above 76 to 75. And they're going to need to break above 86, right? If they break above 86, then the next level would be 96 cents to $1. Overall, though, I'm fairly bearish. I think it's going to be something like this. This is where I think we're at in terms of the chart. I think it's going to be something like this all over again, where it has a nice move up, pulls back, and then it pushes back up, pulls back, pushes back up, and then it just kind of sits, forms some bearish candles, forms a doji, then it just kind of, sits, forms some bearish candles, forms a doji, and then it just fades away. I think that's where we're at on this one. But I've explained to you on, what would need to happen from a price action point of view for that to not happen. For true strength, it needs to stay above 78 cents. That's like for true strength. But yeah, I would just avoid that one. So yeah, that's my thoughts. That's my analysis. Those are the top plays that I'm looking at heading into the week. And I will see you guys tomorrow live. For those of you, within Trader Society, I will see you tomorrow live at market open. If you do want to be a part of Trader Society, if you want more information where you can start trading with me live, as soon as tomorrow morning, it's the first link in the description. Make sure you read, to understand if this is the right program for you, to understand if, to understand what's included, right? And if this is going to be a good fit for you. But yeah, just to give you some background in terms of what is included, there's a live trading session every single day at market open. There is, the daily watch list stock analysis, right? So within the chat room, I share with you my stock analysis, my daily thoughts. You also get access to direct messaging one-on-one, and you also get access to the video lesson library with all of the educational content, including, risk management, psychology, the price action trading strategies, right? So if you are interested in learning more about it, it's the first link in the description below. And I will see you guys tomorrow live at market open. Let's crush it, guys. We got some good setups on the radar. Looking forward to trading them live with you tomorrow at market open.